Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4. Today we're doing another seasonal championship. This one is called One of Us, and it's D-Class cult cars. So yeah, basically we get to go in every car because the majority of cult cars are in D-Class. I think the only one that isn't is a Jaguar XJS, which is in C-Class. So yeah, we've got plenty to choose from, but unfortunately a lot of them aren't the quickest of cars, so we're going to have to pick wisely.
You have arrived at your destination.
Because while slow cars can be fun to drive at times, they can also be fraught with issues in terms of driving them. Make a mistake, you're going to lose a lot of speed and acceleration that you've built up.
Suppose I'll be hearing more now that I know you've signed up.
So it's going to certainly be harder for a car that is as low powered as these to regain any speed that you might lose. So yeah, we've got the Abarth 595, which we've recently done on a Moderate Mods episode, and we've got a Gremlin X, Austin FX4 Taxi, got the Isetta 300, the Datsun 510, which is one of the quicker ones that we've got to choose from, Ford Anglia, Hillman Imp, Citroën 2CV, though it's because it's a James Bond edition, it's actually got more horsepower than the standard version, purely because it was too slow to film with its standard engine, so that's why. Got the Mayor's Manx, got the Morgan Freewheeler, which is the most powerful, well not the most powerful, but certainly the highest in terms of PI that we've got to choose from here. A pair of Morris Minors, though the 1000 is easily the faster version of the two. Got an Opel Kadett A, a pair of Peels, a Reliant Supervan, which will just fall over all the time, so we'll avoid that. A Toyota Corolla, which is really rather quite nice. A brace and a brace of Volkswagens, which, yeah, only really the Type 3 is any really good, purely because it's got the most power, despite being the second heaviest. It's got the most power and therefore the best acceleration. But yeah, I think we'll go for the Toyota Corolla to start with. Not got the most power here, but it's got a decent amount of power nonetheless, as well as torque. Doesn't weigh that much at barely 2,000 pounds, and yeah, all of the stats are pretty damn good average for a car of this class. So let's see what it can do, and see what kind of competition we're going to be going up against. So yeah, I imagine there's going to be plenty of cars that are going to be upgraded depending on the car that I've chosen. I doubt you're going to see any cars at 100 PI if I'm not in a 100 PI car, because that would be quite unfair. But yeah, quite like this Corolla. It's a nice, simple, everyday kind of car. But being the SR5 version, it's got that little bit more going for it. Unsurprisingly, the Peel is roaring off because it doesn't even need all that much power to be quick into the acceleration, given it weighs nothing. It is not going to have the handling, I imagine, or the top speed. But yeah, we've got to keep our acceleration up because, or speed up, because we lose it at any inopportune moment, and yeah, we're going to lose places. I think we're actually going to change into manual gearbox. I think that'll be advantageous for these lower powered cars. We can't actually do that right now. Well, we'll have to do it next time. I was just thinking then that we could have dropped down a gear a lot sooner than that. I typically stay in automatic purely because we're usually in a lot faster cars like this than this, so it takes obviously more concentration, and I've already got plenty to deal with when obviously having to record like this. And we got bounced out of the way there by the much larger VW camper. We can at least get a better position in our first race than we did in the previous championship, which was rather unfortunate. Yeah, we only got 7th place in our first race in that championship. But we're looking like we're going to do better because we're not even halfway through this race so far. These lot have been held up by a AI traffic. Come on. I was looking at the map then because I saw that a AI had had an unfortunate accident, and then I ended up having one anyway. Yeah, one of the dots on the map looked like it had been knocked off the course or something, but I seem to have corrected with my rewind. At least we're top 5, which is better than the first race in the last championship. But I would like to be higher. We ain't got much time left. At least we've cracked 100 mile an hour. I think that's a Datsun up front. Yep. More powerful than we are, but I think it's heavier, so kind of evens out. There's a Ford Anglia up alongside a Peel there, leaning all over the place. Datsun with a Halloween mask is catching me up. Well, it's not the best position that we've ever had in a first race, but it's far from the worst, so yeah. Solid 4th place there. Corolla doing decent, but as you can see, the BMW iSetta and the PLP50 there, despite the PLP50 only being level 100 for some reason, managing to stay in 2nd place. I imagine that's a glitch there, because there's no way that that would be able to not only keep up with an iSetta that's more than twice the PI, but also ahead of a Ford Anglia, which again is more than twice the PI. So yeah, I imagine that's a glitch, but no surprise that them two are in the top 2, because they are really rather lightweight, and you don't have to have all that much in the way of handling to yeah, make the most of all the power that you can put in one of those cars, because you only have to give it 30, 40, 50 horsepower, and it's going to be infinitely quicker than a lot of cars here, because it doesn't weigh anything at all, well under £1,000. Ford Anglia, I'm surprised kept ahead of us, because yeah, we are slightly higher in PI than it, but I guess it had enough ground over us. And then the Datsun 510 in 5th, and then a bunch of VWs way behind, so those campers not doing very well there, but nonetheless, let's get on to the second race in this series. So yeah, the Corolla did us alright there. This is actually the car that you get as a reward for doing this championship, so I hope you've had a nice look at this car if you haven't got it already and want to do this championship. So yeah, I have changed to manual gearbox for this championship, because obviously we're dealing with far lower powered cars than we normally would, and yeah, therefore I need to work those gearboxes to get the most out of these cars. So yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to go for next. I'm actually tempted by the Citroën, because it's even lighter than what we were dealing with before, but doesn't have much less in power, and it might be interesting to see what a bottom of the D-Class can do. Yeah, let's get in the Citroën, let's see what it can do. In one of the better car chases in the James Bond series, to be honest, surprisingly, despite the lack of weapons that were used by Bond and his ally. But yeah, see a cracking little car in that chase scene, so let's see how it can do here. Surprisingly not all that slow, to be honest. Not sure if the suspension actually got any upgrades over as well as the engine. Only 4 gears though, so we ain't got all that much to play with in terms of gearing. but I do like driving these slower cars. Can produce some quite funny results, to be honest. I imagine those campers have the higher top speed than I do. That was a mistake going for that sign there. One of the, I think it was in a cult car category, but that we haven't had for a while is the Holden FX saloon car, which is based on the FXU, I think, that we've already got in this game, or we did have in this game, or one of the other Forza Horizon games, but we haven't had that since Forza Horizon 3, and it's easily one of my favourite lower class cars. I know there's no real difference between it and the Ute version that we've also seen on these games. But it is a cracking little car as well, nonetheless. And I do think I reviewed it though when it was on Forza Horizon 3, but I do miss driving it. The Reliant van there is keeping ahead of us. Oh dear, no, much in the way of handling on this. People forget that these cars are actually front-wheel drive. Oh, tried to dupe me out there. He hesitated then, he thought it was going to hit the bins or the parts car. The suspension feels extremely familiar to the standard car, so I doubt they've actually upgraded it for the film. But at least it did upgrade the engine, so we can have some fun with this car more than we would in the stock version, which I think didn't even have 30 horsepower. So yeah, you'd be going even slower than you would be in this. Right on the limit of the rev limit there. 86 we're topping out at. But at least we improved our position over the previous race, getting in second, so we've doubled our position, which is pretty good. But I'm surprised the Reliant Supervan was as quick as it was, but then again it's probably even lighter than this because that was made out of fiberglass, whereas even though this was made out of the thinnest of metal, it still is quite heavy. But yeah, 8 points behind the Supervan now, so we are going to have to probably pull out the big guns in the next and final race. So a solid second position from the Citroën there, but like I said, we're going to bring out the big guns, and by the big guns I mean the AMC Gremlin X. Most powerful and biggest engined D-Class cult car, 5 litre V8, 150 horsepower and 245 pounds-feet of torque, and despite being a 70s American car, weighs only 2,840 pounds, which is mostly because there's very little in the way of a car here. As you can see by the look of the car, it looks like it's been chopped off the end on the back there, because it's got a ridiculously long bonnet for such a small interior car. But yeah, it's, like I said, the most powerful D-Class cult car here, and yeah, as a result I do not need to be shifting it, so I have reverted back to automatic. Still only, I think, a 3-speed manual though, so not very many gears to play with this, but it does have the most power, like I said. Probably has one of the higher top speeds as well. So yeah, let's see what some American V8 grunt can do. Now the X was only a trim level package, it wasn't a performance package by any means, so yeah, there's no real difference over the X to the standard Gremlin. Certainly got a bit more in the way of acceleration and speed than the Citroën did. Been sabotaged by the camper van there. No matter, I have the power. Yeah, the eye setter went into the back of the car there. Don't have much in the way of handling, especially because it's got such a large engine up front. And obviously, being an American 70s car, it's got quite soft and wallowy suspension. But because it does only have 3 gears, it's got a lot of acceleration once we're in that 3rd gear. Again, it looks like someone in 1st place is roaring off ahead. It's probably that super van again, isn't it? At least being a heavier car, we can smash through some debris with ease. Another eye setter is struggling there. Come on, pick up the pace. At least I think this is only at 3 speed. I imagine it might not be. The problem with some American cars, they have weirdly low gears, amount of gears even. Out the way, Ford. It's one thing that always makes me laugh though, is the vast difference between Ford of America and Ford of Europe in the 50s and 60s. I mean, you look at a Ford from 1959 compared to that Anglia, and yeah, you wouldn't imagine that they're made by the same company. Oh, another car trying to dupe me out. Did not see that car behind the cab there. None of the handling there, I do not know why. Well, I do know why. It's an American car from the 70s. Handling really isn't their forte, but I would have expected a little bit more in the way of handling just to get around a corner. I guess we were going quite quick. Being hunted down by a cabbie. Cabbie had done to that car to make it so quick. Although he got just about duped out by a Ford Anglia. I think the Ford Anglia beat him to the finish line. Yes, he did. But we got beaten by a P50 there. Like I said, they are quite quick, though. Again, I think the PI has glitched out, because there's no way he would have been that quick even at D-Class 100, because people with 50 can at best do 50 mile an hour, and we were doing way more than that. But a Ford Anglia just about managed to beat the Austin Taxi there, as you can see, by just over half a second, which is pretty impressive. The Taxi in 4th and the Citroën V6 in 5th. Where does that put us on the board? Just ahead of the PLP 50 there, and the BMW Isetta, and the Ford Anglia and the Austin Taxi, again, same positions as they were in that race. So yeah, there we go. I'm surprised that Peel and the BMW there did as well as he did, because they are really rather difficult to drive at high rates of speed. As you saw, a pair of Isettas crashed quite spectacularly, one into a train station and one into the back of a car. So yeah, the only easiest of cars to drive, but nonetheless, there we go. I do like cult cars quite a lot, because yeah, they may well be slow and not the quickest of vehicles in terms of acceleration, but they do produce some rather fun racing. And yeah, doing the championship does get you that Corolla if you really want it. So yeah, there we go. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.